Have a grenade!
Hello everyone! Welcome to my guide for the Lewis gun in Battlefield 5. The Lewis gun is one of the light machine guns in the support kit and my personal favorite LMG in the entire game. It is unlocked at support kit level 10 and represents the halfway mark for your progression. There are many LMGs in the game, so the question as to why this particular one is my favorite is a very valid one. Let's take a look at the base stats real quick. It comes in with a moderate 540 rounds per minute fire rate, which puts it around the second to last place of all the LMGs in the game. On the flip side, this makes controlling the recoil a lot more easy, which is a huge benefit due to the big magazine size. The base ammo count of the Lewis gun is a staggering 47 rounds per magazine, which is by far the highest out of any LMG and even rivals the ammo count for the MMGs. This is the major selling point for the Lewis gun, and the reason it's my favorite support weapon in the game. Its control and accuracy are also decently statted out, which makes it very easy to control the recoil in nearly any situation. You should be able to use this gun without much effort at pretty much any distance aside from the absolute extremes. But of course, those are only the base stats. So let's take a look at the specialization tree, which will make it even more clear as to why the Lewis gun holds my #1 spot. There are two types of Lewis gun setups you can specialize in, as is often the case with support kit weapons. The first one is a setup which will increase the ammo capacity from 47 to an absolutely absurd 97 rounds per magazine. This ammo count dwarfs any other magazine size in the game outside of the two MMGs. The second is a setup that is more focused towards the recoil reduction side and is more for long range engagements. Both choices are very viable as the base ammo count of the Lewis gun is already the highest in the entire game, allowing you to make a near unimpeded choice for either. With the base ammo count of 47, you can expect to fire the gun for a little over 5 seconds, which is quite the long time compared to pretty much every other gun in the game. With the 97 round magazine upgrade, this number gets bumped up to a quite hilarious near 11 seconds of full automatic fire. The Lewis gun is the definition of spray and pray. That does not, however, mean that it isn't accurate. Quite the opposite, as the fire rate makes it incredibly easy to control the recoil as well, even under long-term sustained fire. Personally, I choose to go with the ammo upgrade setup, but as previously mentioned, for this weapon in particular, both setups that I will be presenting are more than viable and you should try out both to see which one fits your playstyle better. For my setup, I like to take the high velocity bullets in the first row, as I use the Lewis gun a lot at medium to long range, and this makes it easier for me to hit my targets at those distances. I've never really been a fan of the quick aim perk on any of the support weapons, as the low rate of fire on all of them lead to you being at a disadvantage in close distance engagements to begin with, if you're not already ADS'd. Instead of relying on the 33% increased speed, I usually just back off into cover, ADS, and then pre-fire while rounding the corner for better success at those ranges. Feel free to try it out yourselves though, and let me know what you think about the quick aim perk in the comments down below. The second and third rows, on the other hand, are where our previously mentioned two choices come in. On the left side, we have the first setup, which will increase the ammo capacity from 47 to 97, as well as lower your ready weapon time by 15%. On the right side, we have the second setup, which will greatly reduce the overall recoil of the Lewis gun, enabling the weapon to easily match most other medium to long range weapons in the game in terms of accuracy and control. As per usual, these are mutually exclusive, so you gotta make your choice starting at the second row. The first setup is for those among you that like to suppress targets, flank the entire enemy team, and help out your team with spot and suppression assists during the game. I would call that the more objective focused playstyle of the two, as you'll be spending more time near the front to make your high ammo count and suppression ability count. The second setup is for those among you that favor a more laid back approach to the support playstyle. Your Lewis gun will be quite accurate, especially when standing still, and you will still be able to suppress quite the good amount of targets due to your base 47 ammo count. Your positioning would be more towards the back, as you don't quite have the luxury of pre-firing every single corner you would want to pass. As such, you would be tasked with providing accurate supporting fire against enemy MMGs, recons, or medics as your priority targets. Following that, I take the decreased ready weapon time and the increased magazine size on row 2 and 3. For the last row, I can only really recommend the recoil buffer upgrade, as it is in effect at all times and isn't bound to a buggy bipod system. But if you're a person that really enjoys the bipods in this game and uses them a lot, you can always try taking the bipod perk and see how it works for yourself. The increase of accuracy this provides is quite substantial, but also very situational. The optics you can choose for the Lewis gun all work more or less fine, though I personally am not a great fan of the 3x scope on it. This is due to the high amount of recoil the gun displays when firing and moving from left to right, as that is my usual use case for this gun. If you are a more stational player that chose the second setup, the 3x scope might be a fantastic choice though. That said, feel free to try out which ones you like best and just stick with those. Personally, I take the AA sight on all of my support guns as mentioned in the MG42 guide as well. I like the slight 1.25x magnification, and with the Lewis gun's ability to fight at pretty much any range, it really helps. As for the playstyle of the Lewis gun, it is most effective in close to medium range, but can definitely work at longer ranges as well. If you choose the first setup, you'll be surprised at what a straight up mag dump at long range can achieve. Not only will you oftentimes get random kills due to recons not realizing they're taking damage, but you will also rake in a ton of points due to all the spot and suppression assists that you'll be providing for your team. I would recommend adopting a more mobile style of play for this particular endeavor, as you'll quickly draw the ire of most recons you'll start to suppress. Just spamming the A and D buttons while holding down your left click and controlling the recoil will usually be enough to keep you alive in those situations though. As stated in the other guides, do not be afraid to dump your entire magazine into smoke at long range or just at general areas where you suspect an enemy might be waiting behind. After just about 5 to 6 shots, you should be getting a 3D spotting mark over their heads if anyone is indeed at the location you shot at, after which you can easily adjust and get a few quick kills. You can use this gun on any map in pretty much every circumstance. There's no real downsides the gun has, it just requires you to adjust your playstyle towards it, at which point it will reward you with the most versatile gameplay in the entire game. Want to solo flank the entire team? No problem. Your 97 round magazine will make sure you got enough ammo to take care of all of them. Want to hold a specific point? Absolutely no problem. The accuracy at close range and the ability to pre-fire any spot for over 10 seconds will give your team plenty of time to catch up to you and help you out. Annoying recons are causing trouble for your team? Just dump your entire mag towards them and watch them duck behind cover as your team advances. This is the weapon with the highest ammo capacity in the game that still allows you to ADS while walking. Make use of that fact and don't be concerned about your accuracy stats on Battlefield Tracker. Pre-fire areas that even just remotely suspect an enemy to be in. Pre-fire muzzle flashes inside of bushes, behind walls, and even just minimap blips of enemies that appear. Once you start to internalize the pre-firing of spots, you will unlock the real potential of the Lewis gun. You won't win firefights against most other weapons if you don't. Additionally, you want to make absolutely sure you got the machine gunner combat role equipped if you decide to use the Lewis gun. Even with your 47 round base magazine, you'll be suppressing and spawning people left and right in your normal gameplay, even more so if that's what you actually focus on with the 97 mag setup. At long range, accuracy isn't really required for the Lewis gun in most situations, as your high ammo count and the high velocity bullets will make sure that most players will be trying to duck into cover once you start raining down the lead upon them. If accuracy is a requirement for whatever reason, try roughly 10 round bursts and potentially set up the bipod at a nearby crate or the ground itself. Bursting is a definite possibility, but not really what I personally think the Lewis gun is best at. I would not recommend hip-firing this weapon unless you absolutely have no other choice. Despite the high ammo count, which many would suspect hip-fire could take great advantage of, the Lewis gun is atrocious at exactly that. Due to that low fire rate and the bad inherent hipfire accuracy of the guns in Battlefield 5, you're more likely to die than win a fight. Instead, try to run as fast as you can to the nearest cover. Even if it only buys you a second, it will allow you to go into ADS and then come out of cover already pre-firing the last known location of your assailant. This will be the superior choice for you to make in probably 9 out of 10 situations that present this hipfire versus fleeing dilemma. Also, remember to reload your gun. It might sound weird saying that at this point, but many would straight up forget, as the Lewis gun is one of the few guns in the game that never really runs out of ammo in a magazine. Unless you forget to reload before getting into a hectic situation, of course. A high ammo count is not synonymous with an infinite one. Overall, the Lewis gun is by far my favorite LMG in the game due to its sheer magazine size and perfect balance between accuracy and fire rate. I've played with this weapon for about 16 hours now, which is about half of my entire playtime, and I honestly believe that people aren't giving it enough credit as everyone's eyes are fixed on the KE7. Despite the possibility of me playing with the KE7, I choose not to, as I personally believe that the Lewis gun is the superior LMG due to the aforementioned playstyle choices and statistics. With the potential that more people will pick up the Lewis gun after this guide's release, here's a few tips on how to beat a player that is wielding it. Try to get into close range with them, as the hip fire is terrible and the rate of fire on the Lewis gun is among the lowest fully automatic fire rates in the entire game. Try to change positions often when engaging a target with the Lewis gun, as they're likely to pre-fire your last known location when they round the corner or jump out of their cover. Despite the Lewis gun's accuracy, at long range, you don't have too much to worry about, if the player is primarily mag dumping as long as you don't run into a straight line without cover. A simple 1 to 2 second duck behind cover will often remove their focus on you, freeing you up to continue your journey. With those last few tips for playing against the Lewis gun, I've concluded my guide. I hope it was informative and you learned something from it that you can apply to your own game. Please let me know if I missed anything or you would have wanted me to talk about anything in specific that I might not have covered. Also, let me know what your personal favorite loadouts are in the comments down below. Further, let me also know if you would like to see me cover a particular weapon in the support kit or assault kit, or other kits later down the line. By popular demand, the next guide will probably focus on the top 3 to 5 weapons for the assault kit. Lastly, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like or dislike button, and check me out over on twitch.tv/lunarwolf, where you can watch me record the footage for these guides live and ask any questions you might have. You can find a link to my stream down below in the description as well. And with that, thanks for watching and keep dropping those ammo pouches.